Welcome back to my outpost. I've done a bit of work since last time. I've mainly been looking at circuit production and battery production. So let's scoot into the map view and you can see the base so far. We've got the copper outpost, the iron outpost. This is our rocket fuel and plastics and our shop, which we've all seen before. This is the batteries outpost, which originally was all things sulfuric acid, so that was going to include blue circuits. But looking at the map, I don't think that's such a smart plan. So at the moment it just makes batteries. And this is the green circuit area. So I'm going to start off by looking at the green circuits. If we zoom in on map view, I would drive over there, but it's a little way away now. This is the basic layout. So it's a sort of butterfly of green circuit goodness. The idea is that there is a single direction flow of trains coming in. They park parallel to one another with the plates on the outside and the pickups for the circuits on the inside. Then there is green circuit and copper cable fabrication above and below this in parallel lines. I've left gaps for beacons, so as and when we get those, this will all get filled in with speed and productivity. When you're adding productivity modules, the ratio for the cables and the circuits converges towards one on one. You still need a slight excess of copper cable. So the way I've laid this out is there's exactly room for 15 machines between two drone ports. So I've done one extra copper cable. Starts with a copper, ends with a copper, and then alternates with green. That gives you about half an extra copper cable machine, I think. But, who cares? It's a bit of a buffer, isn't it? So that's the outpost. As we need more and more copper cable, you can just keep adding on a row of fabs above and below the train line. And I don't know if you can... Let's zoom in a bit. Right, there's a central spine of roboports running up between the machines. The effect of that is that as you grow the thing deeper, most of the drone journeys are along rows, putting copper cable in neighbouring green circuit pickups. And they can recharge on this spine, and there's a row of roboports at the ends. So they do sort of zipping across movements, and they roost in the corners and they recharge there. The plates need to be brought from here and circuits brought back, and it's roughly a 2-to-1, I think, of carrying once it's all beaconed and moduled. So a lot of the return trips after you've dropped off plates come back with a circuit, which is great because you're maximizing the useful work which the drones are doing. By having the roboport spines, it means if they're coming back and they get a bit tired, they can recharge on the way. If you rely just on a bar of roboports by your station, then you end up with lots of haloing at that bar. So by having the strips running in the direction of travel, you give them a chance to charge up as they're going, rather than all as a panic at the end. Okay, so that's that site. That will be getting grown out as we go on. So if we go over here to the batteries site, this has grown quite a bit since the last time we saw it. So there's a lubricant pickup. There is a maintenance station. So this is the one which supplies this with rocket fuel and with construction bots. Bit premature because we're not actually building construction bots at the outpost yet. Then we drop off copper and iron plates. We need both of those for batteries. We need one of those for the sulfuric acid production. And then the battery pickup is further away. The reason it's this way around is because most of the drone journeys on this site are iron plates, so that's the closest to the site. The next most frequent journey is the copper plate, so that's next nearest, and the least frequent journey they make is the batteries, so that's the furthest away. My outpost is a combination of 8 carriage and 4 carriage trains, there's no point having 8 carriages of batteries. I would never fill the things up. In fact, I could probably get away with a 1 or a 2 carriage train of batteries. So this little outpost just does 4 carriage trains. You can see all the batteries machines are running at capacity, all those green lights, so they're not lacking sulfuric acid or plates. Only one of the 3 sulfuric acid making machines is really active permanently. The second one comes on and off. And the sulfur machines, they're all running quite happily. They occasionally max out. So basically this site is running comfortably below capacity. I think once I get beacons on here, we'll start seeing a bit more throughput. Okay, so that's it for the 2 new outposts which have come online. The next job really is to make red circuits, and I've earmarked this nice big area of empty for red circuit production. We have plastic being made here. Let's zoom right in. So this site here is making plastic. It's a 4 carriage train, however, and red circuits are a frequently used item, so that's going to be an 8 carriage production site, which is a bit of a shame. This site is well capable of filling up lots and lots of train carriages. That's not a problem. The issue really is the geometric one. This was the first bit of rail that went in, and it went in as a bit of a bodge to get everything working. And because of this, it's a bit of a dog's breakfast of straight lines and angles and corners. Basically to get some materials down to our shop, which was bottlenecked on the comedy green and red circuit fabrication. So what I need to do now is extend this down over here with some nice 4-lane rail. And the 4-lane rail is going to go all the way down, probably to the line of this shop, somewhere around here. And then we'll put in a branch for a red circuit production area. And by bringing the line in much lower, that will actually give us room to extend these stations out to be 8 carriages wide. Plastic at the moment is only going to be used for red circuits. Later on it's going to be used for some of the rocket and satellite components. But that's not really an issue right now, and to be honest, by the time I get to the point of that bottlenecking, I will have more plastic outposts. The other thing I thought I'd mention quickly is my station naming conventions. So you can't see here because the writing is tiny. Because this is the outpost stations, I've been prefixing all with X dash. Probably the best way to see this is if we click on a... where are we? There we are. Okay, can't see that either. Train. Okay, so let's add a station. Okay, so my naming convention is that stops which are for me traveling around have a hash in front of them. So these are train stations which are purely for me in a getting from A to B locomotive. That means they're always at the top. Now, all the train stations which were for my original starter site are just named with their names. All the outpost frontier stations have an X prefix, so that keeps the outpost battery station separate from the starter base battery station, for example. As and when, I'm probably going to swap this around a bit so that all the starter base stations have a prefix, and perhaps strip the prefix off the outpost. But that's one of those admin jobs which I'll get around to when I get bored. The other thing is the stations are named with a name straight after them, which is what type of station they are. So X batteries 1. There may be multiple batteries sites, so I've put a digit in there from the beginning. Then for the station in there which is the item that's being produced, that's all its name is. So X batteries 1 is the place where the batteries are picked up. For the drop-offs, I name them by the item. So batteries 1 copper, iron. There's also a lube station here to pick up lube and maintenance. And that's it really. So I could have called this batteries 1 batteries. It seems a bit redundant. For the stations where there's different size trains, so here I've got X copper 1 times 4, X copper 1 times 8. So they're for the 4 carriage and 8 carriage trains. I find I'm a software engineer by training, I guess, by trade. I find naming conventions useful for stopping me from going insane. Okay, so here we are. I've been scooting around everywhere in this car. I've found it to be quite a nice way to get around a large site, particularly since the rail network is somewhat incomplete at the moment. So I can't really rely on rails to get me everywhere I want to go. Right, so let's live on air test out the blueprints book. So this here is a 4:2 adapter. We're going to be extending our rails down for the red circuit side. So I need to convert this into 4 rails. And look at that, it just drops on over the top. So I am quite pleased with that. We have managed, with pretty much no fiddling around, to adjust a 2-lane into a 4-lane rail site. Anyway, I'll continue with this off camera because it's going to be annoying and boring to watch. But I'll just be building out the Rails network so that I've got all this area available, and probably stick in a red circuit generator here and expand this site here out for plastics to be 8 carriages. Thanks for watching, and hopefully there'll be some progress for you to see next time.